Wasn't sure if I pressed that or not.
Nope.
That would have been bad. Let's talk about rain.
Rain!
You know what would have made this episode even better? Because it's a show about music. And we're talking about instruments in the rain.
Rain song?
Close.
A rain stick.
There you go.
Yeah.
This episode really needed one of those.
Oh, man.
The
Too
one-
bad you don't have your
I
rain
know!
stick here.
It's the one bad thing about me being here is I don't have my rain stick to make the dumb noise.
Maybe you can, like, record one while you get home and then edit it in. Be like, insert rain stick sound here. And then it just goes... And then you're like, all right, cool. Let's talk about rain.
I'm just going to copy that and then just place it again as the rain sound noise.
I got you a rain stick for a reason.
You did. It's a really good reason.
All comes back to REO Speedwagon.
I mean, like most things in life.
When does it not come back to REO Speedwagon?
Oh, man. Hello, welcome to this episode of Jared Now Watch K-On!
I love REO Speedwagon.
You do.
I really love REO Speedwagon.
If we did like a Jared and I listen to REO Speedwagon podcast, you would be in heaven.
I would.
You really would. What is episode is this? This is episode 20?
Yeah.
That's what it says.
20.
Episode 20. We're talking about episode number 6 of season 2 called Rainy Season.
Rainy season.
I'm Jared, by the way. That's Doc Owl
Hello.
and Ladium.
Hello.
Let's talk about the rainy season.
This episode is hilarious.
There's a lot of rain in it.
It's hilarious.
A lot of rain. But
Yeah.
also, like you said, very funny. got
In
the
case you
goofs.
didn't know, this anime takes place in Japan. And Japan has crazy weather, guys.
We're not talking about the K-On! Game.
No, well, it's so hard. It's so hard.
So yeah, it is the rainy season. Ui's trying to get Yui ready for school, and Yui has slept with Gita again. Because that's just the norm.
Yeah, she fell asleep practicing.
I feel like, though, if you would practice the guitar, you would probably fall asleep with your guitar at some point.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
That would definitely happen. I fall asleep with stuff in my bed all the time that I'm like books and game systems, just various food snacks. Like, I fall asleep with things in my bed all the time. It's really not unusual for me. So yeah, I could definitely see a guitar ended up in there. Mm-hmm. Cats are like, what is this?
Get this out of here.
Why are you here? That's my spot.
It's further proof that you relate to Yui.
It's true. I really do relate to Yui.
There you go.
I'm not quite as idiotic as Yui, but I love her. She's great. And relatable.
So they get ready for school, and Yui is freaking out. She's like, oh god, I don't want to get Gita wet, so I'm just going to hold him the entire way. And basically she just gets kind of wet because the way she's holding everything is not really good. Uh-oh. We are now witnessing to a cat standoff here, as Max is in jail and Loki's being Loki.
Uh-oh.
This could be very interesting.
Uh-oh. So yeah, she's already getting wet.
Loki is going for the table. He is a tall man now.
Do you not know my cat was tall?
He's a tall boy.
Look at the way his belly goes. Buddy.
This is the way a real man looks.
Oh my god. So she's already getting wet, and Ui's like, oh no, you're getting wet. This is not good. And she gets a car drives by and splashes water on her.
Little kids run by and
little
splash
kids
her.
run by and splash her. A dog comes by and she's like, I want to pet the dog, and then it shakes all the water onto her.
And then she goes to take a step and just falls. So she's in a rough shape. She gets to school and she's just soaked. And everyone's like, oh,
You're gonna get a cold.
oh.
We gotta get you out of those clothes.
So yeah, they're all, everyone's like, oh god, you need to dry off. And they're also like, oh man, you really like your guitar, don't you?
You really like your guitar. Which the funny part about the whole we have to get you out of the clothes to dry them off is that she turns Gita around. She's like, I can't let him see me in this indecent state. Like, wow. My cats see me naked all the time, so I feel bad now thinking, like, she doesn't want this guitar to see her naked. And I'm just like, hey, cats!
What
up? And they, you know, are actually animate objects. They're not objects, they're people.
Yeah, how dare you. So yeah, they do that. Mugi makes a pot of hot water so Yui can warm her feet.
She thinks she's supposed to drink from the bucket. She thinks it's tea.
And then, like, they just hang her clothes on, like, various, like, objects in the light music club. And
Yeah,
they're also trying to figure out, like, what are you going to wear now? 'Cause
Yeah. Pull up the outfits that have been made.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to put on this pig costume.
they're like, we returned those costumes. How do you have that? She's like, I just like this one, so I kept it.
And then her friend comes in and talks to her, and they're like, how did you know that was her inside? How did you know it was Yui? And she's like, it just gives off a Yui vibe.
So, yeah. They get her back to the classroom, and the homeroom's getting started. And Miss Yamanaka's like, yeah, Yui, what are you wearing? And it just cuts to Yui, and she's in a maid outfit.
A maid outfit.
It's like, what? I wanted to get dry clothes on. It's fine.
You made this.
You made this.
She's like, no, you can't wear that.
And then Nodoka runs in and is like, I got gym clothes for you. Here you go. And Yui's like, oh, I wanted to wear this. Azusa, June, and Ui go into the club room to find something, and they see all the wet clothes just hanging there, and June's like, who would do such a thing like this?
She starts saying that it's like a spell, a magic spell, and then Ui realizes that Yui's tights are on the ground. She's like, oh no, these are Yui's.
Oh, no.
And she like hides them because she can't bear to tell them that they're Yui's clothes. They're like, who's running around naked?
After that, Yui's gonna iron her clothes, and she lets Mugi do it because Mugi's better. Also, Ritsu just, like, fixes a button on her shirt.
Yeah, it's like a weird home ec class thing.
Yeah. So she's able to get her clothes back, and then she's out there wearing, like, her uniform and also just sweatpants under it.
Yep.
She's like, I'm ready, I got sweatpants on, it's great.
And the teacher is trying to use her authority and make sure that people know that she's a teacher. And she's like, take those sweatpants off and also tuck in your shirt, Ritsu. And Ritsu's like, you didn't care about this stuff before. And the other teacher who's been yelling at her walks by, and you're like, oh, I see.
And then Yui's like, but it's fine, if my skirt goes up, no one's gonna see anything.
And so Teach is like, all right, we gotta get rid of these pants, and tries to like pants her. And Yui, like, acts like she's being molested. Teacher's like, no!
And then Yui's back in her normal uniform and just bummed. All the classmates are just like, oh, this isn't going to be as fun anymore.
Did we talk about the fact that she named the base?
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
We're about to get there. So yeah, they're in the club afterwards and talking about how it's raining.
What to do with the guitar in the rainy season. The Japanese rainy season.
Gotta be very specific. Also mentions how, like, she has this, like, rain jacket for her guitar case, and you was like, ooh, and then she's like, here's all this other stuff I got, and then he was like, does any of this actually help you? And she's like, anyways, let's talk about how water can do bad things to your guitar, like mold and stuff. They do something, and then they're like, hey, let's change Yui's guitar strings, and Yui, like, cuts one of the strings and is like, it's gonna hit me. And then it doesn't, but she's like, oh no.
How dare you raise a hand at me?
And then everyone's like, oh, this is a love triangle.
Yep, and so Mia's like, I'm gonna write lyrics about this.
They're about to practice, and the rain stops, and Yui's like, oh god, we gotta go home without getting wet.
No practice.
At home, Ui finds some, like, molded bread, and she's like, oh god, Yui probably ate this, oh god. Because she sees, like, green specks on her mouth. Like, oh no, you ate moldy bread! And Yui's like, no, I didn't.
Do I have food on my face?
Oh, no.
Which is hilarious that she's had food on her face since lunch. And apparently nobody bothered to tell her.
Yeah, that's Yui.
Yeah, fair.
Yui talks about how much he's enjoyed playing guitar and like how she also struggles with the fact like, oh, maybe sometimes I'm worried about like not playing it right or not being in tune or not having the right rhythm and all this sort of stuff. It's like a rare serious moment from Yui.
Yes, very rare.
And then she plays a children's song which is called Amefure. And she sings it with Ui. The next morning it's still raining, but Yui has upgraded. She has wrapped the entire guitar case in plastic and just taped it all together.
Yep, duct tape.
And Ui's like, ooh, nice job. Everyone's impressed, and then she's like, oh, I gotta get this plastic off. It's so terrible.
It cuts to her trying to get the plastic off, and she's having issues, and it's just shredded.
I would like to mention on this wiki page, it says, Azusa blames Japan's climate to be damaging for instruments.
It was so funny as she mentioned, she's like, wow, can you believe Japan's climate is so bad for instruments? And I'm like, in case we needed a reminder that this is a Japanese thing. Like, rain in general is bad for instruments. I understand that Japan has a rainy season, but, like, that was really funny.
Yui realizes that, like, her guitar is not in the proper pitch. It's off by, like, a half tone.
Yep.
Everyone's like, excuse me.
Which I mentioned when we were watching it. I was like, she's, like, a prodigy about this stuff, and it's ridiculous.
It's really good. So since it's still raining, Mio's like, I'm just gonna leave my bass at school so it doesn't get wet and it'll be fine. And he was like, how dare you! And then she just names Mio's bass Elizabeth.
Elizabeth!
And Mio's like, don't name my bass! Yui leaves Gita with Mio's bass and is like, alright now, just keep, look both ways before you cross the street, don't talk to strangers.
Don't get in the car with strangers.
And then all that while it's happening, I was just like, what would my guitar be named? It's a Mustang. Maybe I would call it Mouton. And the movie's like, that's a great name.
Don't read my mind. But you said that out loud.
On the way home, Yui's just like in a daze because she had to leave Gita at school. She's like just stumbling, walking across.
And still getting wet.
Yeah. Back at home, Ui's finishing up her homework. It's like, I finished my homework. And then you just hear like this
awful, terrible stuff. She's like, are there burglars in the house?
And she's like, my sister, no! And then she runs into Yui's room, and it's just Yui just clawing at the wall.
She's like, Gita!
I miss him!
It, like, pans to the wall, and she has a bulletin board of pictures of her with the guitar. And there's one picture that's fantastic that I couldn't even begin to describe of the entire group. But it's hilarious.
There's also a picture of her sleeping with the guitar.
I wonder if Ui took that.
It has to have.
Yeah. She's like, look at my sister, she's so cute. And
then Yui's just like, oh, I can't take this. I'm gonna jump out the window, go to school and get him.
She's like, no, you're on the 3rd floor and it's raining. And you're in your PJs.
So the next morning, Yui gets Gita back. She's very happy, and she's holding him in class. And Miss Gemini's like, you really like your guitar, don't you? She's
no,
like,
put it away.
Put it away. We're in class.
No.
Mio runs back to the classroom just to make sure her bass is okay and there's no mold or anything on it. She calls it Elizabeth. And then it just cuts to Yui, Ritsu, and Mugi peeking around the door like, ah! And that's the episode.
It rained a lot.
It rained a lot. But you know what? You know what you do after a big rainstorm, multiple rainstorms? You have a tea party.
Okay.
And that's what we're gonna do next time on episode 7, or we talk about episode 7, which is called Tea Party.
I'm biting my nail.
You are biting your nail. It's gonna be a party of tea. But until then, if you'd like more from us, go to seasonalcheckup.com or sec.cool. That's where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Checkup and Seasonal Checkup OVA and columns and reviews as well. If you like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. And you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. It's where we do Twitter. So next time...
Tea party!
Let's have a tea party.
Tea party! Not the terrible Republicans. Terrible.
A good tea party.
A good tea party. With snacks.